Hi guys, welcome to day 13 of the Aurora AKT 30-day challenge. We're getting close now, a couple of weeks to go. How's preparation? Let me know how you're feeling stressed, if you're getting anxious, or if you're on top of it and in control and feeling confident. Let me know where your mind is right now. So we've got another admin question today, following a couple of clinical ones. Hopefully you've been following the previous 12 questions. If you have, hope you're finding them some value. If you haven't and it's your first one, please do check the playlist and watch them all back, because there's some good information in there that can help you prepare both from a knowledge point of view and a technique point of view as well. So we're going to go into the question now. 57 seconds of silence for you to think about the question, think about the answer before we come back and look at the answer, some teaching knowledge point of view, but some teaching and technique point of view as well. Admin, hopefully you've done some admin work by now. Often people leave the admin section alongside the stat section to the end. Hopefully you started to do a little bit of reading, so you can give this question a good go. And even if you haven't, look at technique and see how can I use that to try and answer this question, even if I have nothing in terms of knowledge on that particular area, which I'm sure you will have anyway. Right, let's go. 57 seconds. Off we go. That's time, guys. 57 seconds. Hopefully you gave this question a good go. So the answer here is B. So well done if you got B. This is all about NHS eligibility, who can get treatment for free, who has to pay, in what situations, in what circumstances. Remember, admin, organisation, the way that the NHS works, the way that the rules and regulations are based is something that you need to know for AKT. So hopefully you'll get something out of this video if you haven't looked at it before. If you have, hopefully you got the answer B. And FY2 at the practice that you're at has some questions about NHS eligibility following a clinic that they ran that morning. Which of their questions to you would you answer no to? So basically, which of these statements is false, isn't it? And we talk a lot about not confusing your brain and making it very clear early on in the question. Are you looking for a true or a false statement? Because pretty much from a best of 5 or even in an EMQ, there is a true one and there is a false one. And that's kind of, if you get your brain to think of it like that and declutter the kind of other ways that that question comes, it makes it much more straightforward when you go down the answer. So you're looking for the false statement, which would you answer no to? So the false statement is B. If a temporary patient stays in this area for longer than 1 month, is it true that they need to change to a permanent registration at the practice? So that's a false statement. It's not true, because the 1 month bit's not correct here. It's 3 months for a temporary registration, up to 3 months. We'll talk about this in more detail in a second. All the other statements you would answer yes to. Is it true that refugees in the UK do not need to pay for NHS healthcare? Yes, that is true. They do not need to pay. C, if someone visiting from abroad was diagnosed with TB, trichomoniasis vaginalis, would they be eligible for free treatment in the UK? Yes, that is true. You'd reply yes to that question. STIs are covered, which we'll talk about in a second. D, my cousin from abroad says family planning treatment in the UK would be free if she visits, but not assessment for infertility. Does that sound right? Yes, that sounds right. One key technique point of view here is that there are 2 parts of the statement. Whenever there are 2 parts of the statement, you've got to be extra careful that both parts are either true or false before you put your tick to it. So, for example, the cousin staying abroad saying that family planning treatment in the UK is free, that's true. And your brain is already thinking true now, but you've got to carry it through. But not assessment for infertility, that's also true. Not assessment for infertility, therefore the whole thing is true. Sometimes you could read that bit really quickly and not see the not assessment, for example, and therefore it changes the whole thing. So double statements, make sure you pick them up and be extra careful that why is there a second part to that statement? Do I have to make sure both are right or not? And then E, would I need to fill in form GMS3 to temporarily join a GP practice as a patient? That is yes, because that is the form that you need to fill as a temporary patient. A lot of you might have put no because you will know GMS1 is what you need to use to join a practice. And because of speed of reading, or because you're already kind of linking GMS3 practice false, you miss the temporarily bit. So it's GMS1 is for normal application to join, GMS3 is temporary registration, and therefore you might have missed one of those aspects to get the question wrong. So again, even if you didn't know the knowledge inside out, how can you use technique? Look for double statements, look for double words, change things from true to false, from other words to true or false in the question. Again, just adds a little bit of clarity so you can make educated guesses rather than complete guesses, because the AKT, as you guys know, is too high stakes an exam for complete guesses. Let's go through a little bit then about NHS eligibility. So GP services are free for those registered as an NHS patient or a temporary patient. Temporary patient is defined as someone who's in the area from between 24 hours and 3 months. You could register as a temporary patient. Once it hits that 3-month mark, then you've got to think about permanent registration. Secondary care services are free if someone is ordinarily resident in the UK. So, for example, they've got right to leave, so indefinite leave to remain, either living in the UK on a lawful and properly settled basis. Now, there are certain areas of healthcare that are free to everybody, regardless of where in the world they're from or living. So, A&E services, but importantly, only the initial A&E service part, not anything that goes beyond that. So if inpatient stay occurs, or if they need outpatient appointments, for example, that bit is not free. A&E services are. Most infectious diseases, COVID-19, TB, HIV, these are covered. STIs, like we mentioned, that's why TV is that statement was true. Family planning services, but not abortions and not infertility. So remember these two caveats. And treatment for physical or mental health conditions due to various things like torture, FGM, domestic violence, etc. Palliative care services and the NHS 111 service is free to all. There are certain exemptions of people who don't need to pay for healthcare, so refugees, like we mentioned in the question, asylum seekers, children being looked after by the local authority, those having compulsory treatment under a court order, and prisoners. So those are exemptions from paying for healthcare. And then the two forms that we talked about, so GMS1 and GMS3. GMS1 is the one that you need to use to register as a normal GP practice registration. And then GMS3, like we mentioned, is needed for temporary registration with a GP. So some key points there about NHS eligibility. All that kind of stuff is in our online admin course and our audio admin course, because it's an area that I think that people leave a little bit too late sometimes, and there's a lot of information that you need to probably go through once or twice at least for you to kind of sink things in, because there's a lot of stuff that you need to learn. So the online course version of it is here then, but we do have the audio version for admin. So still time to get our online courses, still plenty of days to get full value of these. There are 3: clinical, stats and admin. The longest one is the clinical one by far. Stats and admin are shorter, more succinct, but more, I'd say, especially the admin one, is more heavy in terms of content, which is why you probably need to watch it at least 2 or 3 times. So when you purchase it for 1, 3, 6 or 12 months, you can watch it as many times as you like, pause, rewind, go back to. It's called chapterize, so you can jump to a certain section. There's a triple bundle, which is our most popular bundle for online courses, so all 3 in 1, which is a pretty good discount there. But remember, you've got the 10% discount that you can get as well from watching this video, so make sure you use the coupon Aurora Video 10 to get that 10% off. No limit to how much you can watch it. You get a full PDF slide package, which again with admin is quite useful because it's got all the lists and things on there that you just need to kind of not memorize but just pattern recognize, and that's a really important part, I think, of the admin section. But yeah, hopefully you can still make value of those, and if you're going to use them for a final push in any of these 3 sections, do use that discount code that you're watching just because you watched this video. Finally, hope this has been some value to you. Any further help or advice from me going forward, you know where I am. Please do contact me on any of the streams, whichever stream you're watching this on: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, I think we put these on TikTok, I'm not sure, maybe not. Put a comment below and let us know how they're helping, and if you have any topics that you want me to do in the remaining X number of days, however many we've got left. So we will see you tomorrow for day 14, back to clinical. Have a good day. Campus will pass. #I went with Aurora.